Welcome to the Rig Doctor podcast, where I'm giving out remedies to soothe your ailing tone and fix your sick pedal boards. I'm your host, Mason Marangella, aka the Rig Doctor. I've been building rigs for over a decade for many of the industry's top pros, and now I'm giving away all my secrets to DIYers just like you. I'm giving away all of my tips, tricks, resources, and easy hacks that I've learned over the years so you can build a pedal board just like a pro. If you want to support this podcast, you can do it in a bunch of different ways. Easiest way is to write us a review on iTunes, or you could follow us on social media, places like Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. You can also support us financially by purchasing one of my products, Vertex Effects, from any of our authorized dealers all around the world. Or you could become a member of our Patreon. We have several Patreon memberships as low as $4.99 a month that give you exclusive access to private live streams, Q&As, exclusive deals and discounts on Vertex products, as well as early access to new product releases. Also, you can get personalized one-on-one phone and email conversations with me, the Rig Doctor, to coach you through your next rig build. This could be as in-depth as troubleshooting a problem on your pedal board in real time with me, or some emails advising you on next steps, on certain pieces of gear to buy, and good stuff just like that. I don't want money, though, to be the reason that you can't engage with the Patreon side. So if you don't have the means to do it at this particular time, that's no problem. We actually offer a free version of our standard account at no charge if means are an issue. That means if you just send us an email requesting a free account, we grant 100% of those accounts, no charge whatsoever. We just trust that once things have changed for you and you can afford the $4.99 a month, you let us know. But until then, your account remains free. I also want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Blue Microphones. Kevin Walt at Blue Mics is just the man. He gave us everything. We have Yeti mics, we have boom arms, we have pop filters, we have everything that a podcaster would need, and we supremely appreciate that. Thank you to Blue Microphones. In this episode, we speak with my good buddy, Tim Stewart. Tim has been a friend of Vertex for quite a while. He's done lots of demo videos for us and just done a great job of getting great tones out of our gear. He even talks a lot about in this podcast how he's a big-time user of the Ultraphonics and of the Steel String, uses both those pedals regularly to record and on some of the live stuff that he does. But he also talks a lot about his career arc and how he first got started touring with Jessica Simpson in the early 2000s and quickly moved on to some of the big acts like Rihanna and then Lady Gaga, who he's been with for over a decade. Tim also talks about some of his favorite gear picks that we get to at the very end, and also about some of the advice that he has for how to pivot during COVID-19 if you're a touring musician just like he is. Now, unfortunately, like a bozo, I forgot to plug in my microphone cable that I had disconnected, so I'm having to pull my audio off of Zoom, which is not nearly the quality that it should be compared to what you're used to hearing, so I apologize for that in advance, but I think that you'll find that the content delivers nonetheless. Without any further delay, I bring you Tim Stewart. All right, well, we're here live with Mr. Tim Stewart, one of my favorite LA-based guitar players. And
What's happening?
Yeah, so this is cool. We got it going on YouTube yesterday. We had, as I said, a little difficulty with the streams, but I think we're good and everything's coming through. And we have Mason Mejia, the other Mason, working behind the scenes to get all the thumbnail and chat stuff kind of organized, because there is usually a part at the end with your blessing, Tim. We'll maybe take some questions from some of the people that have been part of the stream.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Of course, man. Of course.
Yeah, cool. So, Tim Stewart, and you've been, I guess we've known each other for a couple of years now. You've been very gracious with us, indulging us in playing some of the pedals and doing some demo videos, all of which have been very successful for us on YouTube, and producing sales where people, see what you do and they want to sound like you and get the Tim Stewart vibe. So I'm really appreciative of all the love you've given our products and all of the shout outs that you've given. I really appreciate all that. But I really want to talk about how you got to where you were, the gear that you've used over the years, how, what some of the big turning points and sort of pivotal, sessions and tours that you were on that sort of seeded continued growth and success, and how you sort of evolved as a musician and what you think sort of the pivot is now that we're all sort of forced into this unusual time in our history and presumably your the gigging that you were doing has been impacted by this. What do you think is the next pivot for guitar players? So I want to kind of cover that range of stuff. But I really want to start first with kind of what was the first, kind of what was your first real professional gig that you ever did? Tim Stewart V1, what did it look like?
The first real tour that I did, I would say would be Jessica Simpson. That was like early 2001 or 2, someplace around there.
Jessica Simpson.
Yeah. Prior to that, I had done a few things, a lot of gospel music, and a few, one-off type gigs and things like that. But that was my real first big tour where I got to be around some amazing musicians and just the whole thing, the bus, the whole deal,
Was the band pretty legit for Jessica Simpson, even though she was kind of more of like a
killers, bro? They were killers. I mean, like it's crazy. That was kind of eye-opening to me at the time too, is, man, like this is what it is, this, you obviously, like someone would say Jessica Simpson, you're thinking, oh, well, this, at the time I didn't know her music, obviously, and it wasn't really aimed at me. But also I'm not thinking that she would have really a stellar band either, I guess, at that time. But then I realized, oh, wow, it's interesting to see how amazing the guys were, That's what I think about it. And the how different it was. Like I met my friend Dean Pleasance, who's plays with Suicidal Tendencies, started Infectious Grooves. He was playing for Jessica Simpson. I'm like, what? And I've been a fan. Like, I was like, what? Wait. So it's interesting, man. I still have great friendships with all of the people involved in that tour too. That was a big one for me, really, like personally and professionally.
How did you get that gig? Because this was kind of the top of her career. She had that. Was this when she had that show with Nick Lachey? Yeah.
It was called the Reality Tour.
Yeah, man. I remember the Chicken of the Sea line.
Yeah. She used to do it live too, like, play the kind of comedic thing, But my friend Herman Jacks, I had just actually met him through a friend of mine named Gordon Campbell, killer drummer, play with everybody, man. And they needed a guitar player. He said, why don't you come down to my studio? We'll meet, play something for me. And yeah, I just went down, met Herman. He was the music director. He's awesome. He's played piano for, man, Whitney Houston, Stevie Wonder, like just the list, you know what I mean?
Right.
And super cool. I played like maybe 2 or 3 chords. He's like, yeah, you got it. I was like, huh? Like, man, I can tell. Like, we're good to go. How's this? Are you free this summer? I'm like, yeah, definitely. So it was an interesting time for sure, man.
Yeah. Man, that's it must have been one of the easiest auditions you ever did.
Yeah, it was bizarre, but yeah, I don't know. It definitely came on the strength of my friend Gordon's recommendation and Herman just being like, he jokes about it sometimes when we talk. He's like, yeah, I remember you just sat down and played a couple of chords. He's like, I could just tell, like, I forget what he says, like the feel I could tell would be right, So he's very cool, man, very nice and a brilliant musician. So I was lucky to be around those guys, man, for real.
Yeah, it seems like you kind of caught on at the right time with her too. I don't even remember what her hit was. She had a couple of hits though, right?
Yeah, she had and that was like my first string of like real TV shows I played and stuff. It was She did Take My Breath Away.
Oh, yeah.
And then she did, man, it's crazy. I can't remember. I'll think of it. There was like a couple.
Do you remember what the
I can't remember.
I'm looking up. Jessica Simpson. It was the reality tour.
Yeah, man. It was fun, man. The rest of the band, crazy, man. No, it was a good time. Yeah, really good time.
Yeah,
I played with her for about 2 years, I think.
Sweetest Sin.
Sweetest Sin. Yep, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember hearing that on the radio for sure.
Yeah.
But were you on the album, or you were just doing the
just touring?
And I can see here that the opening act was Ryan Cabrera. I haven't thought of that guy in a long time.
I randomly saw him in Vegas last year.
Just
He was gambling or something. I walked by, I was like, oh man, I haven't seen this guy in 20 years almost. It's been almost 20 years. Yeah, he was real cool, man. We talked for a little while. It's cool. He's a really nice guy.
Is he still playing acoustic guitar? Like that was a real thing at that point, the singer-songwriter?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he is. I kind of lost touch of, what he was doing. So yeah, I guess. And randomly I've become friends with her sister, It's just weird how life works,
Yeah, that's
later in life.
Ashley.
Yeah, she's good friends with my wife. So
she?
I'm like, wow.
She's married to Diana Ross's son, right?
Evan. Yeah, he's a great guy. They're great people, man.
Really cool. Yeah, I actually think when we were at one of your, we were doing something at your studio, and I think they were coming in as we were leaving.
Yeah, probably. They're very cool, man. And it's just that full circle thing is weird. I didn't really talk to her too much then because I was, just there to work or whatever. So it's weird how that works.
Yeah, it is. So did that gig, like, first of all, what was the gear that you had on that gig? Because this was before the Kempers and the Axe Effects and stuff like that. So presumably you were using real stuff.
Yeah, I had a couple Fenders. I think they were I want to say they were deluxes. I think I had a couple of deluxes, man. And then I don't even know what was on my pedal board, bro. Like maybe
the green line.
Back the time.
You had to have a green line 6 delay.
I did, for sure. I still have that. I mean, I've had 4 of them. They break real easy, Yeah, I had that. I'm trying to think what overdrive pedals I had. I think it was a Boss, blues, I wonder if I had my OCD by then. Oh man, I have to think about it. That was so long. That's almost 20 years ago.
What about a compressor? Do you have a compressor?
I don't think I did on that one. I think I had the delay, a couple overdrives, and volume wall, of course. That might have been it, man. Honestly, I think it was pretty bare bones.
Were you using back in those days? Were you using much in way of the Nash Strats, or what were you using for your?
Back then, I had a Fender Tellys. I had a couple Fender Tellys, and that was pretty much all I played, really. I think I might have had man, what was I using with the humbuckers? It was I think I had this green Les Paul, like a double cutaway one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The one with the double cutaway one that had P90s, or the one that had humbuckers?
Humbuckers.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you had. It almost looked like a PRS, sort of.
It did, totally. Yeah, I had that for a while, man. But I primarily was playing my Tellys just about for everything. I would use that for everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did that gig seed the following gig, or was it you did that one and then you were kind of just doing one-off things in town, or was it immediately into another big tour?
It led to a few other things. During that time too, I was in a band, which was the reason I came to LA. We had this band called Fourth Avenue Jones, and we were on Interscope Records, the whole deal, So we were doing van tours and things in between that time. So I was kind of doing both things,
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I took a year off of kind of working for people because I was fully engaged in that, When that didn't really pan out, you know, I'd say around 2004 or five, I started doing the American Idol tours, and in the summers, and then other like shorter runs with like, I did like Backstreet Boys for a little while, did a Britney one, partially, and then I did just a bunch of other like random promo thing. You know, artists, they do like a couple weeks with hit all the TV shows. So
Right.
Yeah.
And was this because of the relationships that were forged when how did you get led to those gigs?
Yeah, I would say so, man. I think for you know, and at that time I was playing locally a lot too. I'll just go out to all the things, be at everything and play, you know, and just meeting people, and you could do a gig with them or you do a tour with them, and then that's, you know, you grow into a relationship. You know, like, hey man, we need a guitar player. What about Tim? You know, or what about Eric? You know, or what about whoever? You know, it kind of is naturally like that, or it has been for me. You know,
Right.
But I think I just, you know, made some really good friendships and relationships with, you know, a lot of amazing people, man. And just, yeah, it kind of just works out with that works out that way.
At
you
that
know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. Was that a point where you were starting to do session work? Because I mean, like if I look at, you know, if we look at your all credits, you know, which I'm sort of referencing here loosely as we're talking. I mean, you have Destiny's Child stuff all the way back in 2004.
Yeah, I was working with this guy Rodney Jerkins back then. This guy, I mean, he's a mega producer. You know, he's produced tons of records and hits, and I met him around 2002 or three, somewhere around there, and just started, you know, he'd be in LA or he'd fly me out to, at the time, I think he was living in Florida. I go out there, stay for a little while, just cut a bunch of records. And then, you know, when he was here, I would go play there's about a 2 or 3 year span where I played you know, just about everything that he did. Yeah. And then, yeah, sessions that kind of just, it's like a combination of things. You tour, have some sessions, you know, local stuff. And it's just that combo kind of, that's how it has worked out for me, you know?
Yeah. And do you find, like I've heard some guys talk about, you know, it's very difficult to balance being a touring musician and a session musician, because if you're out on the road for too long, then the guys that are typically calling you to bring you in for gigs, they, you know, you're gone, and then they kind of take you off the list of, or the Rolodex. You know, did you find that to be true, that when you were touring a lot, that it affected your ability to be able to get sessions when you were home, or was it not an issue?
Somewhat. I mean, I you know, you definitely, if you're gone for like 6-7 months to a year, you know, you're just kind of gone, you know. So I don't know though. It's, the session thing was always weird to me because I generally just worked with like a producer, or it wasn't like the thing of like, you know, we're calling the guitar player, here comes the bass player, here comes the drummer, we're gonna all cut this. I've done a few like that, but a lot of my experience has been with one producer. Here's the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would just, when I get home all the time, I would just hit up a bunch of people and say, hey man, I'm back, and if you need anything, which I still kind of do. But now I do more production on my own the last, I would say, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I'm kind of more along that line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, certainly you have like the powerhouse group of friends. I remember we were over at one of your house parties once, and I was like talking to one guy. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the MD for Mariah Carey." And then
Oh yeah,
the next guy, and he's an MD for somebody else who's like equally just like a pop icon. So you definitely have good company surrounding you at you know, 1 degree of separation.
oh yeah, man. It's there's a lot of amazing people out there, man. You know, someday I would like to, you know, there's that movie Hired Gun, and then there's another one. I forget what the other one is, but it's interesting. I think maybe the general public doesn't know like how amazing the people are that are backing up a lot of the artists. You know, it's incredible, man. Like I feel very fortunate to be around a lot of people I get to be around. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
was telling someone that the other day, man. A lot of the touring, the things I remember the most are the band, or like, you know, either the hang or the musicianship. And I kind of, my memory to a tour is generally based around that, and not so much like playing at, you know, whatever arena or whatever. It's more like, man, that's the tour that so and so was on drums, and I remember, you know what I'm saying? That's like the basis for my
Yeah.
memories,
Yeah.
I would say.
Do you have a most poignant memory of one particular band that you played in that you felt like it was just like if you could recreate and tour with that group of people for forever? Would you remember? You have any specific tour that you remember with that sort of reverence?
Yeah, I have a few, man. Honestly, for different reasons. You know, the last Rihanna tour was really fun, man. It's a great group of, you know, great group of guys, and just the overall vibe of it was very, I don't know, it was just really good, man. It was just like a really good vibe, and musically it was amazing. You know, it was, you know, and a lot of the Gaga tours too. And it's because, man, you spend a year or two with people, they become, I mean, that's your family. You know, that's like, you know, you share a lot of experiences, and each one of us is away from our loved ones for, like, you know, a good part of time, and you just become, you
Yeah.
bond to people, you know. So I think we did a real small run with Knives, and that one really sticks out to me. It was short, but man, it was crazy. But yeah, I think
It's just some like
they
festival.
all kind of are special, and to me, you know, they all kind of have like special memories, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, with Knives, and I want to get to that as we sort of continue to go. I want to pull us back to some of those the earlier sessions, like for Destiny's Child in particular. Was that one that you were just doing, just you and the producer, or was it like the other band members were in the room, or what was that one like?
Just me and the producer. That at that time, I was working for Rodney. I remember playing on that. He was living in Florida, and I flew down there. I was actually on the road. I forget with who, but I had like a week off or something. It's like, why don't you come down, play on a bunch of stuff. So that was one of the songs, and then
Do you
I
remember
think there
which
were,
songs you played on for Destiny's Child?
yeah, "Cater to You" is the name of the song, and it
Okay.
was on the I forget the record. Let me make sure this is on. Still, oh, I'm gonna double check this real quick.
All right. Want to make sure our audio is good.
Sorry. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, it was. Yeah, at that time, I'm trying to think of the other records we played in that 3 or 4 day span. It was quite a few. You know, he was really active. He had a lot of large output of music. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, there was
cool to
like
be a
that
part of.
time in the early 2000s and late 90s where like there was a lot of production coming out of Florida between like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and you know, a bunch of stuff. I don't know if it's like that anymore, but I don't hear a lot of those names anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that time was interesting, and he's actually from Jersey. He had like a lot of, man, like he did Michael Jackson's whole last full record too, like the
Yeah.
entire one. Yeah, it's crazy.
What about the Marvin Sapp album Thirsty in 2007?
Yeah.
That's another one where there was like really great guitar playing, like super technical, like tons of key modulations, like all
Oh
that.
man, I was just sweating. Like, oh my god, there's so many changes in this song. Like,
I mean, and for that stuff, are you getting charts or anything like that, or how
nah.
are you learning that music?
No, with that we Aaron Lindsay did it. He's incredible, man. Like one of the main gospel producers, I would say, in the last, I don't know, 10, 20 years, something like that. He's incredible, man. It was really I was lucky to be a part of that for sure.
Hmm.
My friend Natural was supposed to do it, and he called me and asked me if I would, you know, be into it. So uh, yeah, definitely, man. It was a good experience. It was freezing. It was in Michigan. That's what I remember for sure. It was like freezing. But yeah, it was great, man. We got to play with my friend Buddy, Calvin Rogers, Swole on bass, who I've toured with a lot, and it was really, really fun, man. That was a cool experience, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember what kind of gear you used on that? I mean, it was pretty clean, so I don't
Yeah,
imagine.
Fender. I had a deluxe on that as well, man. And I had my telly, and I think I had like one overdrive.
No compressor.
No compressor. No.
Yeah.
Just
It sounded like you had a volume pedal.
definitely had a volume pedal, and I was using my, you know, the volume knob as well.
Okay.
But yeah, those songs were hard to learn. It's crazy on guitar, man.
How long was it? Because that was all recorded live, right?
It was, man. I had to do some overdubs, you know, because with things like that, you rehearse, and you know, you want to get your best take. It's live, it's super live, but
Yeah.
I had to do quite a few overdubs for sure. Yeah, but yeah, man, that was a fun one. I gotta go back and listen to that. I haven't listened to it since, really.
Yeah.
I gotta go listen to it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's still a classic in the gospel scene, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I feel lucky to be a part of it for sure, man.
Do you remember when you got connected with Rihanna first? Because the first album that you did with her was around 2009 with R Rated. Do you remember how you got connected with her?
Yeah, that record, the guy Tricky Stewart, who's another incredible man, dude, monster producer. He was my friend, my good friend and production partner, Monty Newell, was working with him at the time. And he just called me and said, "Hey man, can you come play guitar on this? It's going to, I think it was going to be mixed like pretty much right then." So I just came down, played pretty much exactly what they wanted. They had in mind what they wanted already. So just tried to lock in and play it as good as I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun too, man. It's fun to be around people like that. And Tricky Stewart's incredible, dude. He did like Single Ladies and, you know, Umbrella, like a master, you know.
Yeah.
Learn so much. You know, you have the opportunity to be around someone that talented. It's like just gotta soak it up and listen, and you know, it's a good experience for sure.
How much of that was direct guitar versus mic?
That one was fully direct because I brought a full rig. You know, I had this diesel amp at the time. Yeah, bro. It was because I was, you know, it was this one. I forget what it's called though. It had like, it was like their less gainy one. It was called shit. I can't remember. But yeah, I brought the whole pedal board and stuff. But he was pretty adamant, like, yo, and I want this to sound not too much like guitar. I wanted to kind of have a different thing. So I just plugged in, and I didn't even set the whatever they were running. That's how, you know, he wanted to do it. So yeah, for sure. However you want to do it, man, I'm here, you know. So
and this is still with your telly?
Huh?
This is with your Telecaster?
Telly, yeah, for sure. I pretty much had that telly never left my hands for a good, you know, number of years.
Was it just straight American Telecaster or
just an American telly, man? There's nothing special about it either. I didn't do any modifications on it, but I had played it so much that it was just really a comfort thing with me, I think, you know. I could get what I needed out of it, and it was, I don't know, I felt a connection to it in some way, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a weird thing about instruments like that, you know. Yeah.
Do you still have that telly?
I don't, man. I actually don't know where it is.
You didn't sell it, but you don't know where it is.
I don't know where it is. You know, yeah, I don't have it.
Yeah, and so during that time that you were doing Rihanna, you also ended up touring with her. Was that right after that album, or were there some years that went by before you started touring with her?
Oh, it was a lot of years. It was 2015 when
yeah, it's almost 6 years.
Yeah, I got the call to do Rock in Rio, which was like a awesome experience, man. Like, and then we did the tour all of 2016. which was definitely one of my favorite tours, man. I you know, just the group of guys and the music was really, really killer, man. So it was fun. I really enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the Justin Bieber stuff? You have credits on that album. Did you play all over it, or just done a song or two?
I played on one song and I played on two or three that didn't make it that he cut, you know, which is a lot of times what happens, you know. I forget what the name of the song is, but it was with these guys called MIDI Mafia. And they're actually the guys that found Frank Ocean. They are not found,
Okay.
like they worked with him first, you know. That was his name was Lonnie, you know, at the time. But
Frank Ocean, Lonnie at the time.
Yeah, that's his name. But yeah,
where is
so I got
he?
to be
From Louisiana or something like that?
I think so, man. He's brilliant, dude. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, I'm such a fan. I got to be around him, and we wrote some. Me and my partner got to write songs with him for a little short period of time, or you know, just be around, give him a track, and watch him just turn into something incredible. Like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's so. I definitely am thankful for that. That moment in time for sure, man.
Who plays guitar for Frank Ocean now?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know much about him at all. You know, it was just I would say that there was about a year there where we would go to the studio that MIDI Mafia had and you know just try to get tracks to him. You know the whole deal. You know, and that's before his first his mixtape that he put out, which was I still play that. That thing is just incredible.
Is that
my partner has written a couple of songs with him, and yeah, that's a classic. To me, it's classic for sure.
This is before I forget the one though with the Orange album or Channel Orange or something like that.
Yeah, it's before. It's like the first thing that he pretty much put out. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I listen to that all the time still.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Incredible, man.
I agree. What about there's another one I want to ask you about. Oh, I want to ask you about the Miguel album, because that was also another great one that had some good guitar playing on it.
Yeah, man. We it's funny, that song I played on and my friend Ricky played on that before we really knew each other, which is super random. You know what I mean? I'm like, wait, what? We didn't even know each other. We had friends in common, you know. It's yeah, that was and I think Thundercat played bass on that one. It was just like a random, but we were just all at different times, you know. So it was.
Oh, you see, you weren't in the same room with Thundercat.
No, but I've known him since he was young. You know, he's from LA, he play everywhere. The dude is, you know. But yeah, Ricky, it's funny, we always laugh about that. We played on that and didn't know each other. Really, you know what I mean? Barely. We have barely kind of met, but not like we are now, you know.
Yeah.
So it's.
Did you ever do a gig with Thundercat?
Yeah, I played with him a lot in the early, you know, not him as, you know, Thundercat. We used to play. Right. We used to play in a band called Infectious Grooves. He was a member of Suicidal Tendencies at the time, and Infectious is another band of Mike's. And yeah, we did a couple runs and played around town locally here and there back then. I mean, dude's incredible, man. Yeah, talking about superhuman. You know, that's.
Yeah, his brothers too are pretty legit musicians too.
Oh yeah, Ron. I played with Ron a number of times. You know, they're like incredible, dude. Like it's like you're like kind of play basketball and you go play with like Jordan or something. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Like I can play and then I go play with them. Like, okay, yeah. I need to go sit down. Or I just watched him, man. Ron is an incredible jazz drummer, just drummer all around, man. And Thundercat, man, that's what he's done. It's remarkable, dude. He's next level for real.
Yeah.
And the nicest guy ever, man. Really. He never really changed. I've seen him a number of times. Just same goofy, cool as hell, you know.
Yeah.
Really, really good guy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish he used pedals, man, or I try to I try to get some in his hands.
Yeah.
I don't really make a lot of stuff for bass though, so I don't know that I have much to offer him. But man, he's incredible. I really dig what he does.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
incredible. Man, we had this one time we played this little club in France, and infectious stuff is kind of like funk stuff, you know, and killing. I grew up listening to that, and this guy jumps up on stage fully naked, starts doing handstands. We were like, what in the world? Where are we? Why is this happening right now?
So did you guys just play through it, or did you guys join him?
Nah. He actually stage dove, bro. I'm like, man, there's no way I'm catching that guy, bro. In the crowd.
Yeah, it's happened. One of the funniest naked stories I've seen with a gig is I used to go and see Kirk Fletcher. You know Kirk?
Oh yeah, he's a king, bro.
Yeah, so this was like early 2000s, and he would play at this place, and it was either Manhattan Beach or Hermosa Beach. It was one of the beaches, still in LA County, and they'd have like a blues thing that they would do. I think it was like on Friday nights or something like that. In Long Beach State had one of their sororities having like a mixer thing there. And I remember he was playing and doing, you know, just like a straight ahead, you know, like an Albert Collins song. And one of the sorority sisters had gone up there was a kind of a walkway stairs on the side of the stage that would take you onto the stage, and it was not secured. And so she came up behind him, and he was playing this solo, and you know, she was inebriated and took her shirt off. And it was just about when he was going into the solo section. So he was just like getting this roar from the crowd, and you could see his face. He was just so like, he's like, they get it, man. They finally get my music. And for about 5 seconds, he was really there and just like loving it. And then he turns around and noticed that, you know, he has an extra band member that was more interesting than he was.
That's amazing.
And he was just deflated immediately. But it was such a great story. Like, and you know, watching it happen, I just like his reaction to it. Like you could just see he was getting under the nose. He's like, "Oh man, I'm feeling it." And so
that's amazing, man. Oh shit, I love that.
You should ask him about it. I don't know if he remembers it, but he must remember it. How you not remember that?
Yeah, I think that's a moment you will never forget for sure.
Long Beach,
that's amazing.
State, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it must have not been that early because if it was a bar, I would have had to have been 21. So it would have been at least 2006, I guess. But yeah. But yeah, I remember that one pretty
vividly.
Yeah, it's vivid. What about how you got connected with Lady Gaga? Because you've been playing with her for how many years now?
I started in 2011, I think.
2011? Okay.
I think so.
Almost
yeah.
10 years.
Almost 10 years. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, my friend Joe Wilson. He who I actually met through Rodney. We had kept in contact through the years. He's awesome, amazing musician, producer, the whole deal, man. And he was her music director at the time, and he just called me and said, "Hey, there's a spot, with Gaga if you want to come down." So I drove down, and I at this time I knew Ricky. I knew most everybody in the band, and I came down and talked to him. He's like, "Man, would you want to do it?" I said, "Yeah, for sure, man. I'm super down." So we had to make like a little video of me playing for her to see, and then just to get, obviously it's like an audition, get the okay. And so we made the video, showed it to her, and then he called me like, "Hey man, it's a go if you want to do it." So pretty much like that, easy. And then I just jumped into the rehearsals. They were already rehearsing for the Born This Way ball, which was the world tour that we did after. It was fun, man. That was an interesting one because we were like in a castle. It was so strange.
Where was it?
The castle?
Yeah.
Just like the stage was a massive castle.
Oh, got it. Okay, I was confused. Yeah, it's like
No.
rented a medieval castle.
No, the actual stage was a medieval castle, which was crazy. And it would open up, and we had like a room. Each of us had like a room that we would be in, and it was trippy.
Yeah. And then you ended up playing on some of her albums too, subsequently.
Yeah, I did. I ended up playing on Artpop, and we all played on the about 6 or 7 songs off the Stars Born.
Including sort of the theme song, or did somebody else do it there?
No, the man, I actually don't even remember which ones we played on. There was 2 or 3 different bands, it seemed like, or 2 different, production things going on. Each, like the main character, he had his sound and his band, and she had pop moments in the movie, so we played on those, and then some of the ballads. I think for
the record itself. So for the, I forget what was the name of the big hit song, the theme song for the whole movie.
Shallow.
Did you play?
We didn't play around.
They did like a studio team for it or something.
Yeah, man, that was I have to look, man. I'm not actually sure who all played on that. I know we did do a pass of it, I think, but or maybe we didn't. I can't really remember. But I have to look and see.
All those acoustic parts are always Dean Parks. Or
yeah. Actually, I think who played the guitar on it was Lucas Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah. Willie Nelson's son.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta check his stuff out, man.
All right, I will.
Yeah, it's real rootsy. Huh?
Is he in LA?
I actually don't know where he lives. But he's like, he's got a solo career, man. He's just they're killing. It's like, like rootsy type music with just he sounds like Willie, and his vocals are crazy. And the songs are crazy. Like, they're really good, dude. Like, he's awesome.
Does he use the steel strings on a nylon string guitar?
Right. He should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's I'm trying to think what and I think he plays for he plays for somebody too. Oh yeah. But he's awesome, man. Yeah. I think that was him though on that record.
Did you give Bradley Cooper any guitar lessons?
No.
I understand he actually does play the guitar, although I mean I think they probably didn't sync it perfectly on some of those songs.
Yeah. No, I think I have no idea. He came and sang once with us. That was at one of the shows, and then we did the Oscars that he sang.
Yeah.
Good. Takes a lot of guts to get up there and do that, man.
Yeah.
Like, man, especially if you're not a singer. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It takes some guts, man.
He's a performer, so he understands some of that pressure, I'm sure.
For sure, man. For sure.
You guys are going to be playing that song for years.
Oh yeah. For sure, we definitely are. I only do the one part live. Ricky plays that one.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, so I just play the electric part at the end. I'm kind of just hanging out till that happens. Looking around,
If you still are doing the American Idol thing, I'm sure you're going to have lots of people on the Hollywood Week doing that song.
Oh yeah, we played it once last year, I think. He's in this year's season was nuts, by the way. I'm still like recovering from that. We did it all from home. It was just like a ton of songs, a ton of we had to film our own, film ourselves, which I think was the more difficult thing to do,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, so this was all recorded during the COVID stuff.
Yeah, we did 4 episodes, and yeah, it was pretty interesting, man. It really was amazing what they did. Like when I watch the shows, I'm like,
I don't know anything about this. What did they do? Because the season started before this happened, right?
Yeah, the season started, and they had the top 20. Yeah, and yeah, that's right, the top 20, and yeah, this happens. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna be canceled, or it's not gonna happen, But they were like, no, we're gonna do it, which I thought was incredible. And the music director, Chris Pooley, he, man, like, has the sound just to pull that together. Everybody's tracking from their homes, can't rehearse. He's basically just like explaining what you hear like for each song, but it's not like one song. There's like, I think one week we did like 40 songs.
Wow.
And you're cutting all your part, and sometimes you're just cutting your part to click because everybody's doing it at the same time, and then it comes together, and then he edits it, mixes it, does everything. And yeah, I was kind of amazed, man. I was really definitely lucky to be part of that, and just amazed at how well it came together. It's
Yeah.
incredible. You know what I mean? Like, everybody in their own homes is recording their part, filming themselves, and it was very interesting. And the show, I watched the show, it was awesome. The same with the contestants. They had to, obviously film themselves and go over the arrangements.
Record and stuff like that. Did American Idol give them sort of like a suite of microphones and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, I think they all got the same thing in terms of like lighting and recording. I would assume. I think that's what happened. I'm not entirely sure, but I would imagine you'd have to get the same things.
You would think the ones that are more the contestants that are more adept at Pro Tools or Ableton or Logic would have a huge advantage there.
Yeah, and I don't know how they did it with the contestants, because I was wondering that as well. I'm like, I wonder, how does that work, But it came together so well, man. I don't even know.
So they've announced a winner and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the winner has already been announced, and yeah, and it was really interesting, really good. My friend Greg Saran is the other guitar player. He's like, I do more of the rhythm, and he's like handles the vocal, the load most of the time. So I would just call him and be like, okay, what do you need to play on this, man? And we would talk usually in the morning and say, okay, let's figure this out. And throughout the day, we call each other and be like, okay, let's do this. And you do this, you take this part, I'll take this part. When normally you would do that, obviously, at rehearsal, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So it's really interesting, man. It was so many people coming together to pull it off. It was cool to be a part of. Super cool to be a part of.
Yeah, and I think that this is probably, one of the big item things I wanted to talk to you about is like, what do you think the pivot looks like for musicians now? I mean, certainly what you just described, I think, is going to be one of the possible formations of this, moving forward. I mean, how likely do you think it is that we're going to be seeing a concert in an arena anytime soon?
I don't know, man. I think about it every day, honestly. This year we were supposed to be out. We did the Vegas thing, and then we had a tour in the summer, and then come back to do Vegas again. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very strange, man.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I'm definitely thinking of other ways and other things. I'm already somewhat, when I'm home, I'm almost already in quarantine. That's how I go to the studio, every day. That's kind of what I do.
Right.
There's not much difference there, but I think in terms of live playing, and which I love, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre, man. And I hope that by next year we're up and running again. But
yeah.
But I do think, you got to think of other ways now, and I'm contemplating some other things that I need to be doing more. And so
what do you think is one of the most viable opportunities for musicians now, kind of in this, that you see as sort of a direction that people can go? If you have any advice that you could give other musicians that are trying to figure out kind of what's next, or how to generate other income sources during this time.
Yeah, I mean, teaching, I think, all the different streaming things too, man. I feel like a dinosaur in a bit of a way, because I'm, most of my experience has been going and playing or recording. But I do have to look into that like a lot more. So I think that's a viable thing for sure. You know, like you got Twitch, YouTube, all those things that are available to you. I think that's a part of music now, you know, and performance. So
Yeah, I think you have a lot of valuable stuff to share. I mean, if people haven't checked out your jam play lessons, I mean, especially for just like, you know, like the rhythm stuff that you're doing, the funk stuff, the R&B stuff, it's really, really great, you know, and I think that that's certainly worth people checking out if they really want to learn from somebody who's just like such an expert like you. I think those are great pieces, but I've also seen a lot of guys, like, I don't know how well you know Tom Bukovac in Nashville, kind of one of the session guys out there.
for sure.
Have you watched his thing that he's been doing since this all started?
I haven't.
It's called Homeschooling, and he kind of just like riffs on a topic every day for 20 minutes on an iPhone, plays a little bit of guitar, and you know, like you, he has all these really unique stories and things like that from being on the road with, you know, Joe Walsh and Vince Gill and, you know, fill in the blank kind of guys. And also just has like kind of tips for guitar players, you know, and it's not produced or anything like that, but it's amazing the amount of engagement that he gets for just being an iPhone turned horizontally in his garage. And he's just telling a story that nobody else could tell, you know, like nobody else could really tell a Lady Gaga touring story, you know, or what it's like to be a musician for, you know, some of these amazing artists, except for you. You know, you're in like a 0.001 of 1 percentile of people that have access to any of this stuff or have been on the road with any of these amazing artists. So I think that there's certainly a lot of opportunities there, especially for people like you that have such a prolific list of accolades and musicians that you've played with.
Man, I need to look into all that.
Yeah, check out Homeschooling. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to, man. I definitely am. I'm going to. But I think that's on the front of my brain for sure, man. If you have to like think, because it's true, and I don't know if I'll be on the stage for another year, you know. So
Yeah.
you got to think about those other ways for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that there's going to be some
Trippy.
live streaming stuff, you know, because like our showroom in Burbank, I could see in the rehearsal complex there that they're just bringing in all sorts of just like super state of the art equipment, so that, you know, because they have full rehearsal stages, you know, arena size stages minus the audience
Yep.
over there, and so they're bringing in all this stuff where basically they can broadcast full concerts from
Wow.
those rehearsal venues and just treat them like, you know, regular
Shows.
concerts minus the audience, you know.
Wow.
So, you know, I could see that Nine Inch Nails and a bunch of other people had all their gear like out there. So I'm assuming that,
Wow.
you know, it wasn't just them. It was like, I think I saw them out there. I think I saw like Mary J. Blige's stuff out there. You know, but no, most of the even people who are renting those spaces like us, I think we're only allowed to be there like 3 hours a day or something like that, just for like mail pickup. We can't really even use
Oh.
our lockouts or our
Oh,
studios.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah, although I mean it's been more flexible now because there's just been like trucks coming in all the time, you know, to drop off,
Yeah.
do installs and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, it's
Wow.
I could see that they're starting to pivot to do that sort of thing. You know, at all and it's not just over with us; it's at you know, center staging and I could see that they're
Yep.
the same stuff.
Wow, man. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
can see it going that way for sure.
yeah, I mean that's the second best thing you can do if you want to have, you know, the performance aspect with you know, without any audience
Yep.
risk. Well,
Yeah, that's true.
one more thing I want to ask you about, because this is like, you know, again, speaking of an experience of somebody who's had like a 1/10 of 1% experience, you've played on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a very small group of people that have ever done that. What's that like, and what are maybe like things that people don't realize when they're watching this thing that you can share?
Oh man, definitely surreal. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day. Someone asked me about that, and I was basically like, yeah, it's like it's not really. I don't think of it as like a great musical moment. Something that it's more of just like in awe of the amount of people and of the pure like just excitement of that many people that are that excited to be there. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily music. It's more just being like, wow, I can't believe I'm in this place right now. And I'm standing up here playing. It's nuts. And they move you out there so fast, dude. Like to watch them build the stage or not even build it, like put it together, all the pieces, all the speakers, everything like in minutes. It's like hundreds of people just pushing the stuff out. And then yeah, it's nuts, man. It was really like unforgettable. You know, we rehearsed for a long time for that. And so to get up there and to be able to play in front of that many people and that kind of, you know, excitement, it was awesome, dude. Me and Ricky were on the like so close to each other on this super high, like man, like end of the world type, you know, apocalyptic type thing. We literally, he was like, we were both like, man, don't move too much, because it's like we would have fell like completely.
Yeah,
just my feet were cemented to that thing. Yeah, we both didn't feel too easy about that one.
No volume.
No, nothing.
You know?
Yeah, I was just like, ah.
Was that all Kempers, or were there real amps there?
That's no, yeah, it's just guitar, Kemper, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
On the Lady Gaga gig, typically, is that all Kempers, or do you use real stuff?
That one we use the Kempers, and we just run them through cabs and through the direct. You know, they would do a combo of that, and then we use our pedals still. Yeah, that makes the most sense for that gig. You know what I mean?
She's not gonna let you guys bring a big old refrigerator rack out there,
right? I mean, I don't think she would mind. I think it's just the amount of stuff that they deal with. They have so much lights and so many other things going on, and dancers, and you know, it's just that show is just a lot of everything. So
she seems
it
like
makes the most sense to.
No,
huh?
She seems like she'd appreciate good tone, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, she does. And I mean, I think for that too, since there's so much in the box as well, it kind of sits. You know, we've done that gig with amps. You know, and it sounded great, but I think now this the you know, the clean stage thing is huge. You know, that's what I think the majority of people want.
Yeah.
From the monitor to the front house to everybody, you know, especially it's not necessarily a guitar in front type thing. Some of it is very heavy. Some of it is very guitar heavy, like industrial sounding heavy, you know. And I think for that, it works the best.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
It's odd. It's weird. It's a weird time, man. I think I engage in all of it though, because I think all of it has a place. You know, you have the amps, you have like Kemper things, you have like, I'm just for all of it, because I feel like, man, you might as well. You know, it's fun. Like I get to use this, or I can use this if I want. And I've kind of years ago just changed my thinking on all that. You know what I mean? Because I think for certain things, like a really dialed in tone, sometimes in certain musical settings, that doesn't work the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I got too much of a full low end, man, it's like 8 basses in these stems. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to find something that's way thinner and more in this register higher, so I can cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's a weird world, man.
Yeah, you need to talk to Gaga about getting a Dumble, man, for the gig.
Yeah, just have it there.
Yeah, you know, like in the old days, when you got a Dumble and you were like an artist. You know, he would like. You remember Christopher Cross?
Of course,
pop singer. Yeah. So he had a Dumble.
Heck yeah.
You know, on his albums, his like kind of logo was a flamingo, so on his Dumble, instead of having like overdrive special or whatever it was, just had the flamingo right there.
Yeah, flamingo. That's pretty cool.
And I saw this for
man.
sale somewhere. It was a 200 watt, like with a 412 cabinet. I've not seen a lot of Dumble amps that are 200 watts, the 412. It was like a single channel, like a super clean amp.
Oh, that thing is probably killing. So much headroom on it. You can turn that up loud, bro. You don't even need to mic it. Just
he needed that for his 12-string Strat. He had that 12-string Strat that he played.
Man, I listen to Christopher. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, man, Christopher.
Yeah,
I remember telling you remember the rap group Crisscross. I remember our babysitter. This is in 1990 or 91. When they first came out. I remember telling our babysitter, she's like, "What do you guys want to listen to?" Because she saw all my dad's records, and I was like, "Let's listen to some Crisscross." Like I didn't know what my dad had, so she found the Christopher Cross thing. She started playing it. It comes on with like
sailing or something.
And I was like, this doesn't sound like that.
Well, they've changed.
Yeah. This is that was so she put it on the B side, so it had the lighter stuff.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
I still listen to that though, man. That's the yacht rock. Get out there, grill, have a couple of drinks, man. That stuff is killing though, man. Moon over New York City and sailing, all those songs, man, are like epic. Like they're just so well done.
The album credits on that thing,
probably nuts, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like Larry Carlton, Eric Johnson's on a song, Stevie Nicks, Don Henley. I'm trying to think who else is on there. I mean, it's just like Michael McDonald is on there. It's like an insane cast of people on that, and you can really hear it's like Eric Johnson. I think that first Christopher Cross album came out in like 79, so you can hear Eric Johnson kind of like getting his tone together, like
developing it.
Yeah, like it's not like you can tell it's Eric Johnson, but it doesn't quite like get all the way like Cliffs of Dover.
Yeah.
You should check out that song. It's on one song on that album.
I'm going to, man. I'm definitely going to do that.
And you can hear it, and it sounds like a little bit out of place. Like Eric Johnson has like a really stylized tone and attack and approach. And it sounds sort of like he was just trying to like fit that into the song because Christopher Cross said, "Hey man, you're from Austin and I'm from Austin," or I don't know if he's from Austin, but I think he's from Texas somewhere. He's like, "So yeah, just come and play on the record." It kind of seemed like it was like a little bit haphazard because it doesn't fit 100%, but like it's there. So it's cool. I'll be curious to see if that's your interpretation. If I haven't already biased you by mine.
If shoot me the name of it. I'm gonna go listen to it today.
Yeah, it's called Minstrel Gigolo. Really weird.
Minstrel Gigolo. Wow, that is a weird name.
Yeah,
I've got it. Minstrel Gigolo.
Tim, before we complete, I want to take a couple of questions. I got a few here on YouTube, and I got a couple more on Facebook and Instagram. Just people had questions. RJ Ronquillo asked Tim,
that's the man, bro.
What's your favorite Christian Castro song?
All of them. What was the Azul one? Oh man, we both did that gig. It was RJ's like incredible, bro. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Yeah, I'm trying to think. One of the weirdest places I played was with Christian Castro, and he talked about weird gigs. I felt like it was like, man, it was just weird. There's a bunch of people sitting on the stage, like they were like in like prom clothes almost. Like it was just fucking weird, man. But I have the best story with that guy. That someone told me that I don't know. He was a cool guy, man. He apparently he really likes metal. I had no idea because none of the stuff he does is remotely near that. You know what I mean?
How he just decompresses at the end of a gig, just goes in his green room, just cranks.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's an interesting. That was an interesting gig.
Yeah. So what's the funny story? You were kind of getting into it, or is it just that he listened to metal?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how true this is. But someone said like they went to have dinner with him, and he had this really beautiful lady with him, and the meal came. It was just one like spaghetti or something or pasta, and there was only one. She's like, okay, that's weird. And she took it, and my friend thought she was going to eat it. And she was feeding him. That was her. She did it, and she was just feeding the Christian Castro. That was her whole job. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like, wow. That's interesting. Okay.
As long as it's consensual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody is asking about what picks and strings you use.
I don't use any. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't use strings.
No strings or picks, bro.
It's so wireless. His guitar, there's not even strings.
I just yell the notes in the pickups. That's it, bro. It's new, bro. It's new.
Yeah,
it's the new shit. I use the little like Eric Johnson picks, honestly, and then I use for strings like 11 to like 52 or 3, I think. So yeah, I've gone back to use a lot of just the standard 10 gauge too on a lot of guitars for certain things. I remember I picked up Josh Smith's guitar one time, man. I was like, bro, I didn't think I can make a chord on this thing. Big ass, like real man strings. I felt like a little girl. I was like, oh my God.
What about nines, bro? Like Prince, you know?
Yeah, that's true, man. It's funny. Like, I think each gauge does have like a thing to it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I definitely want to get a super shredder guitar with 8s on it, though. Just go nuts, dude.
Yeah, or think about like Hendrix. Think about 9s tuned down a half step.
That's so slinky, bro. That's amazing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get.
Think about how he gets those where he bends up and he pulls down. You know, it's a lot easier to do that with, or like he kind of had a hybrid set, but it's like even 9.5 tuned a half step down. I mean, it would just feel like.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna have like a collection of each. I'm gonna have my 11, my 12, my 13, my 10, my 9, my 8.
Yeah. Don't you have a Schecter endorsement?
Yeah.
Why don't you have them make one of like, because they had made some of the early super strats, you know, because James Tyler and Tom Anderson were like two of the guys that were like part of that shop before it had originally closed or gone bankrupt or whatever happened, because they were making some killer shredder strats. Yeah,
I'm gonna hit them up. I got this new Nick Johnston one that they just put out. Yeah. It's pretty cool, man. Yeah. It's killing, dude.
Which one? Which one?
Great. It's the it's just like a white one. I don't know the.
You got it right there.
Name, yeah. I'll pull it over. I just broke a string on it too. It's funny. I haven't changed it yet. I don't say I just broke it. It was like a couple days ago.
Because you didn't put on your 9s like I told you.
Like, man,
you did a half step down. A real man, a half step down.
I think I need to be like Josh and put like a real man. That's why, man. I'm telling you, he rips on that too, which is crazy. Yeah. Like rips, bro. Like, wow, man. Look like it's easy.
Yeah, man.
Crazy. This guy.
Yeah, okay. It's got a humbucker on the bridge. I dig it.
Yeah, it's killing, man. Thing is really, really well made. Really sounds awesome. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'd played one of them at Sweetwater when I was there doing some teaching stuff with the staff, and I thought it was a really great out of the box guitar for sure.
Yeah, man. They're great. They're great company, man. I really like the guy, my good friend Adam over there. He's killer, man. Awesome human being.
Yeah,
we have a lot of fun together. They're yeah. It's good,
Where's Schecter located now? Where's HQ?
It's like Sun Valley, North Hollywood. Well, no, I guess that's Sun Valley technically. Is it Sun Valley? I don't know. It's like
it's on the 101.
LA's so weird, man, because it's like these towns kind of like separate. It's you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think it's Sun Valley. Yeah.
Is it on the 101 side or is it on the 5 side?
5, like you're.
It's past
kind of. Yeah, past the airport.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're making some awesome, cool stuff, man. Some really fun stuff too. I got a couple shredders.
I'll have to hit them up for get one of those Nick Johnston ones. They do look cool.
Yeah, they're killing, man. And of course, I I don't know. Like I got this PT, this USA one that's pretty cool too.
Huh.
I really like that one. Super versatile because you can go real heavy with it too, but then it still has like a nice telly thing to it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Where's the Nick Johnston one made?
I think they have the USA one and they have let me see. Let's see what this one is. I think they do their stuff in, I'm not entirely sure, man. I think they do some of their stuff is like Indonesia or you know what I mean? But they
Okay.
have that big factory there. Their factory is killing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's so many good things out there now, man. Like so many good instruments. It's fun, man. It's a kind of a fun time. I remember growing up, like even pedal wise, like I'm like, I had like a DOD and a Boss, and that was really all you had to choose from. Really, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, there maybe Ibanez. There was like there's not a large amount of
Yeah.
options. Wouldn't you say?
Well, I don't know.
Like,
I mean, what was the shop that you were going to in Oakland when you were a kid?
um, shit. Now I think about that. That was. I can't think of the name of it. I'll think of it, man.
Because I remember the only choices
Think of the name of it.
when I was a kid, you could go to. Oh, it looks like we lost him for a second. See if we can get him back in. Might have hit his exit button. We'll see if we can get him back in to finish up the stream. Give him another minute or so. You know what I bet happened is like what happened with Michael Thompson the other day is that you're running Zoom on your phone and your phone dies. And just texting him. Definitely live. Yeah, sometimes the conversation just gets so good you forget your phone's on 1%. You need to plug it back in. Happens to the best of us. In the meantime, if you have any more questions for Tim, I know that kind of the principal part of the conversation was complete. Here he is. All right. Audio is connecting.
All right, I think we're there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, it was weird. It just went to the,
I thought maybe your
yeah.
phone died or something because we were doing this with Michael Thompson the other day and his died. He forgot to plug it in.
Yeah,
All good.
that would definitely happen to me.
Yeah,
man.
So some of the other questions are: did you play the slide part on the song "Shallow"?
No,
No.
I'm not sure who did.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody emailed in this question. And they wanted to know if you used on the Super Bowl, is that live or is it pre-recorded, or can you not say?
I don't know. I don't know if I think it's pretty common. Those are all pre-records, all of them. Yeah, yeah. The vocals aren't though. That's the thing. Like that with that, but I don't know if I'm not allowed to say. I guess but like I've known that for years. Like you watch any of those. Remember when the Red Hot Chili Peppers did it? They were just up there going crazy, bro.
Yeah.
And they didn't even plug in, which I thought was awesome.
They didn't even plug in, like, so like you could clearly see that there wasn't any.
Yeah, dude, they were going nuts, man. It was one of the more funny ones. You got to watch it. I think it was when Bruno did it. Yeah, the Chili Peppers come out. Please watch that. It's killer.
All right, yeah, we'll check that out. So most of that stuff then is all pre-recorded and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think it's just the way it has to go. You know, from what I understood, it's like one instrument can be live and the vocals can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the music, that's pretty much the way it's always gone.
How much of a concerted effort is there into really miming the part identically, knowing that a very small percentage of the audience could connect the difference between?
I think it's kind of automatic, especially rehearsing it that much and playing it that much. It's just like, I'm just playing it, you know? And it's, you know, something that we've played for years.
Yeah.
And I've done, man, back in the day, we used to do all those TV shows in Europe, all mine, like, even like Top of the Pops or whatever. A lot of those other shows. I've done Soul Train a couple times back in the day, and it was all mine. It's trippy, man.
Mm.
You know, guys used to switch instruments. That was always the thing. You play keys, yeah. Oh. Yeah, I remember I was working for this artist one time. We did a string of those, and the manager dude that she had, he just done some TV show over there, and obviously we're miming, and he was like, "Man, you guys sound amazing." He was serious. It's like, fuck out of here. You guys just sound great.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Another question that I got sent in was, how different is the rig that you use for Gaga or for sessions versus what you use for Knives?
Oh yeah. Well, with Gaga, we're doing the Kempers full on, you know, Kempers and cabs and kind of just, you know, a blend of that stuff. And then with Knives, when we record, we're just kind of using all kind of everything, man. Some of the stuff we even just took a overdrive pedal straight in, just nothing, or a fuzz pedal straight in, you know, and then recorded with some different amps, some Kemper stuff, some. I think one of the things we had, like that little orange practice amp. Plug that in and mic'd it and turn it way up. You know, just that's kind of more just as creative and as fun as we can make it, you know. A lot of that is Ricky. Ricky is like super, he knows how to experiment, how to get cool, really interesting things out of the guitar, man. It's really awesome watching him do that, bro. It's crazy. Mid sessions, man, I use a combination of things, man. Different amps, different direct things, plug-in things. It just depends on the song and what I think it will work best for it, you know.
Yeah. What about, like, because you guys did some festival dates, right? Knives, I saw was doing some stuff.
Yeah, we use. I think we had some. What we use over there? I think we had to backline everything, you know, like to each spot. So I think a couple of spots we used the Marshalls, which when the Suicidal stuff, I was doing the Marshalls always, because that's, you got to rent backline. That's kind of the, you know, there's not too many options when it comes to rent backline, really. I mean, there are, but then it's like,
So did you get a JCM 2000 or an 800, or what did you get?
800. One time we did it. I had a 2000 for one of the runs. One show though, I did this, and I have a few of them, like the Terror Head, the orange Terror Head, which I love, man. And just threw a 412. That thing is mean.
Nice.
And we played a lot of orange stuff for a while too. But yeah, I think one run with Suicidal, though, I had to use a 900. That was a challenge. It's like, geez, man, it's taking my soul. So, yeah.
Nice. And somebody was asking as a follow-up to the Super Bowl question, when you guys were miming, was that something that you guys had recorded and then they were just playing back as stems, or was that from the album stems?
Oh no, we recorded. Yeah. You record, rehearse, do the arrangement, like the whole deal, man. Like, yeah.
How many week prep is it before you do that?
The Super Bowl or the months? You know, we did it a few months, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in various places, like you start in one rehearsal, and generally with tours, it's the same way. You start in a rehearsal spot, and then you go to like a kind of like a production rehearsal spot, which is like essentially the size of what you're going to be on, you know, size of the stage and the general layout. And that's pretty much for every tour or anything like that. So it was the same approach with the Super Bowl for sure.
What about another question that's being asked is how different is your rig for the Rihanna gigs versus Gaga? So in Gaga, you're using all Kemper.
And Rihanna was the same. Yeah, that's kind of where I started at, actually. And it's pretty much the same idea. That tour, I didn't really, it's like, I would say there was like at least 7 or 8 songs. Well, maybe not that many, maybe like 5 or 6 songs I didn't really play on because they're like, didn't have guitar. So I felt like, you know, there's 2 options. I can really make this more rock, fill it out, or make it more like kind of soulful R&B, or do like kind of sound effecty stuff. But then, you know, really a lot of it was the music director, Omar, who's, man, genius. It's like, man, well, this doesn't really have guitar. Are you cool with not playing? Like, yeah, because I don't want to change the nature of the song, you know. And some of the stuff he wouldn't play on because it would be like a bass and drum for the majority of the song. It's like, dude, if I put chords in this or if I put things, it definitely changes the intention of that, you know. So that tour really opened my eyes to that, honestly. Because before, I think I'm just gonna play on it. I'll just find something to play. I'll double this or I'll play that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think sonically, it made more sense for just to kind of step back and like, you know, you can just watch and listen, you know?
Yeah. Well, Tim, I sincerely appreciate you spending part of your afternoon here with me and going through some of your the songs that you've played on, the records you've played on, the tours that you've been on, and the artists that you've supported over the years. I'm sure people have done this before, but I really appreciate your contribution to music and just your skill and your gift that you share with everybody. It's really good to say that I know you, and I really appreciate how gracious you've been with me and my company Vertex as an extension. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here today and indulging my questions.
Oh man, thanks for having me, bro. For real, man. I love y'all, man. I got the
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite, bro.
Oh, you know what I should ask you that I didn't ask you? We should talk about quick because I've done this with everybody, so I got to ask you this. Any sleeper pedals that people should know about that are not common knowledge?
Like, is any pedal in general?
Any pedal, yeah, like a pedal that you like, you love and that you think is great, but not a lot of people know about.
I honestly, not just because I'm talking to you, but one of them is the Ultraphonics to me. And I'm sure you're, you know, the people you're talking to probably know that about that, I'm sure. But to me, that one is voiced so awesomely. That's one of my favorite things. And I use it in a multiple ways, man, all the way up or as like a boost. I really like the KHDK Scuzz box. I use that a lot, man.
Yeah, I think
that thing is cool.
Are under the radar all over the place. Like those are the Kurt Hammett ones, right?
Bro, they're that like, yeah, I have like maybe 3 or 4 of them, and really Ricky turned me on to them, and yeah, I use it quite a bit. A lot of nice stuff we use a lot of that, and our friend at Beatronics have a killer let me see, what's that thing called? One second. Oh, the Swarm, and these are more like just like super interesting, crazy stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about, so it's funny because like your clean tone is so great and you're so good at doing like all the print stuff. Are you ever really using compressors, or are you pretty much just using stuff like in the rack or in the box to do compression for clean guitars?
Sometimes I'll use like I'll use compression, man. Like I have but you know, sometimes I'll also like the Ultraphonics, bro. I'll just take all the gain off and use that, honestly, because it gives me a little bite. It gives it a little little hair on it too, you know? Like to slide a bit, and the attack is crazy. So I would say since I got that, I've used that kind of more than anything. And then on my clean sound, really, you know.
That's huge. I'll take it.
Yeah.
What about
it's killing.
What about some of your favorite delays and reverbs? Any recommendations that you give to players?
Yeah, I like the Walrus joint. The ARP 87 is really dope. I like and there's another one I really like. What am I thinking? I mean, I use the H9 a lot too, man, for some things, you know, like chorus, if I can have chorus on something, or like whatever kind of like, you know, wet effects. They have a lot of cool things in there. I really want to get one of the Chase Bliss pedals. I think Ricky had one. I was like, man, that thing is incredible, bro.
Which one? The delay, the reverb, the chorus?
It was the
Hello.
What's it called? I can see it. It kind of has like damn, what's it called? What's his delay called?
Tonal recall.
It wasn't that one. It was the other one. What's his reverb? I think it was the reverb.
Arc World.
Maybe it was that one. I have to ask him. Yeah.
Yeah. What about like modulation stuff?
Oh, so many cool things out there right now.
Modulation for like chorus, delay, tremolo, anything you're gravitating towards for that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. This guy, I like this guy. This is more reverb, but like the rainbow joint is pretty cool, man. I'm trying to think. Chorus. I mean, what I really want to get is an old TC Electronic.
Oh, the stereo chorus.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I had one of those for years, man. I don't know what happened to that either.
Yeah, they.
Really, man. A lot of that stuff, I've been using the H9 for a lot of that stuff, man. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some good courses that you should, if you like that one, you should check out the Jacques Meister Singer, a French company.
Yeah, you gotta text me that.
Yeah, I'll text it.
Okay.
I'll text it to you. That's good. I might even have an extra TC. I was cornering the market for a while on TC stereo chorus pitch shift.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I remember somebody said that to me. They came over, I had like 6 of them sitting on it on one of my amps. They're like, "Man, are you trying to corner the market here on these or what?" Because I like buying them.
Plug them all in.
Yeah, no, you should. Well, I used to use 2 because you can't, you know, they're not stereo in.
Yeah.
And so I used to like running 2 of them, and I would just use the mono out on, you know, mono in, mono out on both of them to get a stereo in, stereo out version of it. But I don't really do that anymore, so I don't have much use for them. But I seriously have 6 of them, and then I modified them all so they can take a regular power connector instead of the hardwired.
So I'm plugging in. Yep.
Yeah, just so it was a little easier, you know, if you were, you know, didn't want to have to do
another thing to plug in. Yeah, for sure. I remember that being a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but I mean that's the Eric Johnson chorus, and
for sure
Larry Carlton used that for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. What about boosts and like kind of like low gain stuff?
I really like the honestly, man, I use the Ultraphonics for a lot of that too. I really do, man. And of course, the Steel String, that I have that on all the time, man.
I need to get you the new one though, the mini one. Have you seen that one?
Do you have a mini one? No.
It's like a third of the size, and then it has a couple of extra controls on it too.
Oh, okay.
So it's little. I'll send you a picture. You can check it out and see if you're into it.
And with the Ultraphonics, man, I just, the little knob, I have it blasted all the way up.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got that nice fucking like high end, just
it's
almost like a treble booster in a way, kind of, if you use it like that.
Yeah.
It kind of has that vibe to me,
Yeah, we have another version too of the Ultraphonics that's called the HRM. That's like a Marshall Plexi hybrid that Dumble did a certain limited number of EL34 based Dumbles, and one that you have is based on like the really traditional 6L6 style Dumble. So this one has some interesting things in some of the sounds that this produces. The EL34 one is it can get some totally different sounds. It's a totally dissimilar circuit, but you might dig it. It's got some extra controls for like presence, and it has a ratio, so you can blend in the clean signal with the affected distorted signal, so you can get some cool tones there. So we'll have to get you one of those.
Yeah, man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for putting the overtime. Don't tell the union.
Oh, good, man. Man, it's great to talk.
Yeah.
Talk to you, man. I ain't talked to you in a while. It's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like the last time we chatted was probably I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to bro in the flesh when we don't have to wear hazmat suits to see each other, and give the family my best.
I will, man. Likewise, man. Likewise. Yep.
All
right, brother.
See you later.
Peace out.
So that was Tim Stewart. That was a really fun chat. I really appreciated that he gave us so many honorable mentions, although I promise I did not put him up to that. As I say to a lot of our guests, the check is in the mail. That was really cool that he kind of shared some of the behind the scenes look about the Super Bowl, that being pre-recorded. Some of that stuff I think isn't obvious to everybody, and he certainly has an insight to that more than most. I think the other thing that was really cool that he talked about on the podcast was he mentioned about how he dealt with the American Idol thing, and I didn't even realize that was still happening during COVID, and that they all kind of came together as a group and recorded everything in sort of their own little silo recording studios at home. I think certainly that's going to be one of the possible looks of the future for touring musicians and for people that are doing live and televised TV, that are going to be doing it out of their homes or having to figure out some way to sort of multi-stream into a certain format and then sort of edit and chop it up from there. So I thought that was a really interesting context, especially for those of you that are still touring musicians. I think that this is definitely going to be a pivot that we see more and more common in the coming months and year. Now, this podcast wouldn't be possible, of course, without you listening to it, so thank you for that. But it also wouldn't be possible without our sponsor, Blue Microphone, who provides us the boom arms, the Yeti microphones, the pop filters, all the things that we need in order to make this possible. I also really want to thank all the people behind the scenes that are making this possible. Hunter Harrison for doing all the audio, editing, mixing, all that stuff. I'm giving him a really hard job today because I'm giving him a Zoom file instead of the normal WAV file that would be coming off of my mic. I apologize to Hunter for that. Mason Mejia for co-producing, and for Tim Marco for making all the music that you hear on the Rig Doctor podcast. Until next time, I'm Mason Marangella, the Rig Doctor. See ya.